A very good morning to you. Welcome back from that short break. Good morning, Uganda does continue, and it's time for The Real. My name is Julie F. Nantaba, and today's discussion still is related to matters politics and democracy in Uganda. But given that Uganda is highly populated by youth, 75% of the population is youth, why not have a look at the key issues affecting the civic space and how these influence the meaningful participation and democratic processes when it comes to youth. 0709602592 is the WhatsApp number that you should engage and be a part of the conversation, because you're a youth and you need to understand how best to participate come general elections 2026, but even in the aftermath and even in the now. But even if you're not in the age bracket of the youth, you still have a lot of advice to give, a lot to learn from the generation that is. Now, to have this conversation with me is Nashiba Nakabira, who is the Programs Officer at African Youth Development Link. Once again, 0709602592 is that chance for you to be a part of this conversation. Good morning, Nashiba.
Good morning to you, Julie, and good morning, viewers. I'm happy to be here, and like you've well stated, my name is Nashiba Nakabira. I am the Programs Officer in charge of Democracy and Governance at African Youth Development Link. And similarly, I serve as the Regional Ambassador for Peace under the AU Youth for Peace program, where we promote young people's participation in peace and development processes. So I'm glad that you have well stated that Uganda is a young population, where 70% of the population is young. So their participation in civic and democratic processes is critical for national development, and especially contextually speaking during this period where we are going under active election.
Right.
And previously we've been having a challenge where elections have been, have been treated like an event, like you go, you cast your vote and then come back. But we remind Ugandans that if our population, if our young population is civically aware, and if they know exactly what their roles and responsibilities are, they are able to engage throughout the electoral processes, but not necessarily to treat elections as an event. But I'm delighted to be here today.
I love the word that you use, that the election process is not an event.
It is not an event.
And speaking of it not being an event, let's look at the shrinking civic space in Uganda, especially with the youth. Whilst we grew up, we saw a lot of activity from our parents, our older folks, being so active in politics. We admired to really be a part of what they were a part of, but the only limitation, we were young. We were 18 years, rather below 18 years. But when we crossed 18, we now look forward to be a part of the movement, of the activity. But there are many restrictions that come, from the freedom of expression, and having to be a part of all these youth groups. What do you have to say about that? That is so true, that we are having a shrinking civic space, especially from the perspective of the young people, whereby currently they experience what we call apathy. Majority of them, wanting to give up on civic issues, on how the country is governed, and that is not good for the country. You remember, of course, there are certain laws and policies that, in a way, curtail people's freedoms, freedoms of association, freedom of speech. That is why some people say that you can have your freedom of speech, but you cannot guarantee your freedom after speech. And what we think for sure is that the young people must be able to understand their civic roles and responsibilities. And what for me this means is that the young people must understand what is civic space. And just briefly, I must say that young people must know that when we talk of civic space, we are talking about them being able to get involved, meaningful participation, meaningful engagement in the affairs of their... Meaningful,
Elaborate on it so that a youth out there might understand the difference between what is meaningful participation and that which is not meaningful.
We are talking about meaningful participation that is not chaotic, meaningful participation that is within the confines of the law, meaningful participation being in the right place at the right time, doing the right thing. That is the kind of participation that we are talking about. But briefly, I was telling that the young people must be able to understand what are my roles and responsibilities as a Ugandan citizen. What is that I'm supposed to do that makes me a Ugandan? How am I contributing to the development of my community? What is my role in the nation's development? For example, during this period of elections, do I know where I'm going to vote from, how to vote, why I'm voting? Because we've seen so many of our young people, they do not know why they must even participate in elections. But that is also part of civic engagement, civic participation, for them to be able to understand that, yes, this is my role, this is my responsibility as a Ugandan citizen, and this is the responsibility of the leader, my elected leader. And if Ugandans get to understand that, especially the youth, they may cease asking for the impossibilities from our elected leaders. Because we've seen this happening, like a leader goes to the constituency, they've been elected, and then the electorate are asking the leader, the member of parliament, to work on their road, to put medicine in the hospital. And yet, that is not the responsibility of a member of parliament. So our young people, it is really critical for them to have that information, you know, to have that right information, that this is my role as a Ugandan citizen, this is the role of a leader, and this is how government institutions work. So that at the end of the day, they do not ask for the impossibilities, they do not ask for things which are outside the mandate of a parliamentarian. And like you've been saying, that currently, because of the shrinking civic space, we see that especially young people in the rural communities, they've not had the opportunity to get access to the right information at the right time. And now when you look at the urban centers now with the social media and the access to information, you find that at least for them, they are able to have access to information, especially during this period where access to information, especially voter education, is really critical to ignite young people's meaningful participation in these elections. So you find that what we have currently is that we have access to information. If you try to compare, for example, the urban and rural centers, the urban centers, at least for them, they have access to information, which is not the case in rural communities. I want to understand that it is the mandate of the Electoral Commission and the Uganda Human Rights Commission to carry on this civic voter education so that our young people get ignited. But also it is critical to support the civil society organization to create an amicable environment where civil society can contribute to this space. But again, it's happening that, like with the shrinking civic space, we find that civil society, like majority of the civil society organizations that are applied for accreditation from the Electoral Commission have not yet been accredited to do voter education, which is really not good, especially for our young people who are in need of this information.
When you paint the picture of accessibility to voter information, while in the urban centers, there's a lot of information. One would wonder, is there too much information at the same time? Because as we consume a lot of information and learn, there are things probably we unlearn that are supposed to stay, and things we learn that are not supposed to be learned. But also even looking at the restriction of inaccessibility to information to those who are in the rural space. You also point out the nugget of the fact that as youth, there's asking of our leaders the impossible. But also I think that brings in asking of our leaders the trivial. Issues that are not really important. I mean, asking your leader to come help you bury someone who has passed on at the village.
It is unfortunate. It is unfortunate, but that is we can attribute that to the limited civic awareness, because our young people do not know the role and responsibility of a leader. And you find that even the leaders, although some of them happen to be knowing about their roles and responsibilities, they end up doing those things. You end up finding them, you know, at the burial, supporting groups, you know, and so forth. But that is because there is a gap at the same time that has not been filled from the side of government as well.
Providing a solution to that so far can be used as government sorts itself?
Yeah, I think it's through civic education, whereby civil society must work collaboratively with government institutions to ensure that the relevant information is accessed, especially in rural communities. But also you've talked about social media, and I was just thinking out loud that we have a lot of misinformation and disinformation. You find that a lot of information, especially during this period, is circulating, and you find that a message can be shared without someone even verifying if this message is correct or not. So you find that there is a lot of you know, misinformation, disinformation, online violence, abuses, and that is not really good. So I believe I want to call upon especially the youth to use social media responsibly, not to use it to create a dent, but to ensure that we use social media to circulate relevant information, to create civic awareness, to ensure that the young people, wherever they are able to access the right information. But at the same time, I want to invite like EC, the Electoral Commission, to work collaboratively with civil society to support, especially during this period, to be able to sensitize the communities, to be able to sensitize especially the young people how to vote, where are they voting. Yes, why are they voting? The young people must be able to participate, but like we said in the beginning, meaningful participation is really critical for the nation development.
Very important indeed. Be a part of the conversation. 0709602592. We are looking at key issues affecting youth civic space and how these influence the meaningful participation in the democratic process. Be a part of the conversation and engage us here on set. I am with Nashiba Nakabira, who is the programs officer at Africa Youth Development Link. Nashiba, now let's look at the laws. Laws and regulations being used as a limitation or as a place of conservation when it comes to the civic space and the whole democratic process.
Yes, exactly, especially when it comes to freedoms of speech, freedoms of association. So you find that especially civil society organization and youth organized groups, they are not able to engage freely. They are curtailed with some laws, for example, the Public Order Management Act, which curtails them to convene freely. And sometimes if you look at the scrutiny especially at the local level, for those civil society organizations that work at the local level, the district level, they will share with you there is a lot of bureaucracy in order to get, you know, that accreditation to work at the districts, especially the youth focused, you know, advocacy and governance organizations. So you find that such laws and policies that curtail free engagement, free association, the freedom to association, those curtail access to information, but also young people's freedom to engage, to participate, and to be able to associate with the different groups and networks. So I think it is only important if the government considers to review some of those laws and policies. We have the Public Order Management Act, we have the NGO Act. It is really hard, especially because of late we've had so many NGOs that have been denied renew of their permits, the working permits. So I think that in a way, and yet civil society complements work for the government. For me, I think we need to focus more on collaborating. How are we able to work with government institutions at all levels to be able to deliver our mandate as civil society, as government, as we work together to ensure that our young people participate, our young people, they are able to have the access to the right information at the right time. So for me, I think that is quite critical.
Right. Let's look at some digital restrictions. At least reports said, and take note of the fact that internet in Uganda is more expensive than in other East African countries altogether. Speaking to that.
Yeah, internet is so much expensive. But also if you look at coverage, in terms of coverage, if you go deep down in the villages, you find that you cannot even have access to internet. That curtails access to information, because now if the young people are cannot afford data, even those who can afford data maybe in the rural settings are not able to access internet because the coverage is just limited. I think that also in a way curtails the access to information, especially when it comes to civic awareness, civic engagement for the young people. And even if you look at, because for example, during like this period when the elections hit up, you find that some social media platforms are cut off. You find that, for example, in the previous election, Facebook was not functioning.
Yes.
So you find that when government puts in place such restrictions, for me, I think it curtails the freedom to be able to access the information. But also I think what we need to do for sure is to regulate, just a little bit of regulation, especially when it comes to misinformation and disinformation, because that is so detrimental, and it can cause harm, especially when someone does not know where the information is coming from, and all they focus about is just to disseminate and share it in the different groups. So yeah, I think it is important to ensure that even in the rural communities they are able to have internet, but also to ensure that internet is not expensive. It's made affordable to everyone, to every Ugandan, to be able to buy data and access information.
Right. Let's look at institutions within the government. Many youths don't trust the government.
Yeah, they don't trust the government. There is apathy, and like so many young people, if you just try to if you just try to like engage a young person randomly, they will tell you that we do not see them. We do not. Some of them might even say that the government institutions don't work. But I think that is due to limited collaboration. And this
is not limited to just the government, but also political parties.
To also political parties altogether. Because if you also look at the young people's participation from the perspective of political parties, they do not occupy leadership positions in those political parties. Okay, some of them might occupy a few positions, but they do not have the power to make decisions. So you find that there is even limited capacity building in terms of building their capacity to understand the role of a leader, to understand the role of a citizen. So for me, I think it's more of need for more training, ensuring that the young people in all sectors have their capacities enhanced, especially in leadership, and also to be able to understand their civic roles and responsibilities.
Right. Yeah. Let's look at international and regional frameworks. What role do they have to play to ensure that these issues are dealt with?
I think these frameworks provide a guiding principle. For example, if you look at the African Union 2063, talking about the Africa we want, talking about the integration of Africa, having the national institutions to be able to work and deliver to the interest of the citizens. For me, I think that is so critical, and it presents an opportunity. However, for them to be able to maximize their impact, there must be deliberate efforts, especially at the national level, to be able to dominate domesticate those policies, those frameworks, to be able to put in place, for example, national action plans that speak directly to those global and continental frameworks. Without that, trust me, they will end on paper. They will not be able to, you know, be utilized or even actualized at the national level, at the domestic level. So for me, I think those frameworks, the continental, they present a good opportunity for the government and also civil society want to be able to ensure that they are domesticated at the national level, but also ensuring that even the people get to understand them. What is their contribution to, for example, the national action plan? What is their and how are they being? How are they contributing to its actualization at the lower level? For me, that is really critical. Without that, I think these frameworks are likely to just stay on paper, without being.
Now we're about to start. In fact, we've started the tail end of this conversation, but still 0709602592. And Nashiba, what I would ask you to prepare for is to just share your parting shots to the youth, to the government, to the Electoral Commission, as well as civil societies and all independent observers. But before we do that, let's engage some of the comments coming through. And Omgaga Saurembo, who is actually a candidate as well, contesting there and for Councillor Kazo Ward in Muganzirwaza, he comes through and says, "Nzo Omgaga Saurembo enabweru Councillor adako mbuza lwachi government teyamba abavubuka ku mirimu." And thank you so much, Omgaga Saurembo. His question really translated to mean that why isn't the government taking a part to play a role in helping youths have employment opportunities. And Odaro Vincent, good morning Uganda, this is Odaro Vincent from Tororo. The youth should know that they have a role in peaceful politics of the country, but not to involve themselves in violence, because violence jeopardizes democratic processes. Kimaleni Michael, watching you live from Bududa district. Thanks for the show, Julie. I'm always happy because whenever I send my messages, you always read them. All right, thank you. Anyway, first come, first serve. You're always good at keeping your time. Now you say that. Now my comment is, what are some of the strategies that can be put up to reduce on the cost of data in Uganda, because data is very expensive. I don't know if Nashiba, you have anything to say as to the comments that have come through in just a second.
Thank you so much. One of the callers, one of the viewers has really emphasized peace, and yes, as the peace ambassador, I really want to emphasize that. Let us participate, but participating in a manner that is non-violent, because Uganda is for all of us. We do not have any other country. This is home, and we must be able to contribute to the peace. I mean sustainable peace that is going to even benefit the generations to come. And then Michael says, how can we reduce the cost of data? I think this is through advocacy, to continuously engaging government to be able to reduce, to be able to consider maybe working with other sectors to regulate on the amount that must be put in place for the young people to be able to afford it. Yeah. But also just to remind the viewers that the young people have called the National Youth Manifesto that was developed through their Youth Coalition and Electoral Democracy, a coalition that brings together youth civil society organizations to mobilize young people to participate meaningfully in electoral processes. So the Youth Coalition came up with the National Youth Manifesto that stipulates key thematic priorities which they want the next government to focus on. And some of the issues that are highlighted in there include the jobs, employment, healthcare, we have climate, security and governance. So for me, as the politician engages you with their political party manifesto, just be reminded that even the youth of Uganda have their own manifesto.
Right. What are your parting shots?
I just want to thank you, first of all, for hosting me, and to just thank the viewers for being part of this conversation, but also to remind the young people to follow our Twitter page, African Youth Development Link. There is a lot of information that benefit the young people, and also we have a TikTok. We are on social media, on different social media platforms with African Youth Development Link. I want to invite the young people to be able to participate in these elections, because it is your right, it is your constitutional mandate, but participating in a way which is meaningful, which is peaceful. You must be able to know why you're going to vote. You must be able to know how you are going to vote and where you will be voting from.
Right. Thank you very much. That is Nashiba Nakabira, who is the Programs Officer at African Youth Development Link. And she's been speaking with us, very pertinent information at that. Key issues affecting youth civic space and how these influence their meaningful participation in the democratic process. Thank you so much for being on the show. Good Morning Uganda does continue. And up next is JMU Tourism Express. We do have the agenda a little later on, but for now, JMU Tourism Express. Good morning.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala, this is Good Morning Uganda.
Well, World Tourism Day is happening in Arua, and we are in Arua grounds where it's happening. The celebrations, there are a lot and a number of exhibitors. But one of the places that did catch my eye is Ara Fishing Lodge. This one I have visited before, and it is very interesting, very beautiful. Thought about a place where you can have the leisure, the adventure just in one space. It's a full package, but I would not want to spoil for you. You will get to hear from the man himself. How are you, sir?
I'm good and very happy that you have all come to West Nile.
Yes.
Arua is the heart of West Nile. West Nile generally has emerged as a very vibrant place post-war, and most Ugandans don't know about it. And this time we really appreciate the government and the Ministry of Tourism to shine the light on West Nile. And here we are as Ara. We are the well-established tourism destination in West Nile. And although we are called Ara Fishing Lodge, we are much more than a lodge. We are a holiday destination, but we are also a getaway, for those who just want to go and relax, and all tourist activities you can imagine. And what we're trying to position, because Uganda, especially now UTP, is encouraging Ugandans to be local tourists, so that we diversify our offering as Uganda beyond the big five and the mountain gorillas. They are good enough, well, but one of the most things God has given us as Uganda is the Nile.
Yes.
Some activities going on in Jinja, but that's a small section of the Nile. Instead, a lot of activity on the Nile is taking place in Alexandria, in Egypt.
Yes.
So West Nile has 210 kilometers of motorable Nile with all sorts of activities, be it sports fishing, be it birding on the Nile, be it cruises, being sightseeing, and we have set up all this, and we really encourage people to come and see what happens here in West Nile.
The World Tourism Day has brought in very many numbers for people in West Nile. It has actually given them an opportunity to see what is happening in West Nile. So as one of the exhibitors, how have you positioned yourself to tap into these numbers for your lodge?
First, we focused on positively portraying West Nile, because most people do not know that Uganda is now peaceful from Kampala to Koboko. They still think Kony is around. Then also they think we have not emerged out of the war. So we as West Nile, we have been showing that we are vibrant. There's good nightlife, it's a good place to be, happy people. people who love visitors, wanted to so that we really love and welcome visitors. In any case, we are located at 2 borders, DRC and South Sudan. By the way, one time West Nilers were part of Anglo-Egyptian Sudan, then we were given to Belgian Congo and back. So we are very international people, and we like hosting. Now, SRR, we have positioned to really showcase that we are a tourism option. Many people have already been to Queen Elizabeth, they have been to Jinja, they have been to Murchison, they are looking at having an option. They have escaped to Kalangala. Okay, so we are presenting an option, a fresh one. People should not be stuck or bored. They take a longer road trip, but it's fun with a lot of stops. You have Das Coated Mchomo at Kafu. Yeah. Okay. Nice places to and fun along the way, and you come to us, and when you come, you won't believe the Nile here, the cottages we have set up, the activities we have set up. Whether you want to spin a quad bike, it's here, and the mud is here. It's crazy, so nice. Whether you want to immerse in farm tourism, okay, what you see in Kainela is here. We have all the birds, okay, yeah, and we really encourage people to come. You want adventure? Is here, Mount Oche. Okay. You want to hike, you want to walk in canopy, Zoka Forest is there. And you know, it's the only forest which has the flying squirrels, which has woodland, a savanna, and rainforest all in one, and indigenous coffees too. Actually, genetic material is constantly extracted from it to strengthen our coffee in Uganda. So when you're making money from coffee, just know that the disease-fighting thing, the natural things are growing here in West Nile. You know, indigenously, we had coffee. Yeah. So all these options exist, but most important, you want to have a destination event, that special birthday. You want to get away with your friends. You have a girls' party, besties, or guys only, buddies want to come away. It is here. We have party houses. And we say what happens in Ara remains in Ara. Because we're on a peninsula. It is a dead-end road. Okay, it's a dead-end road. It is there. You can come and play hard, recuperate. Now for the corporates, the most, you need a retreat destination to come and refocus or to celebrate that win. We are the option, an affordable option. We have made sure we have set sports grounds for team building, board games, very creative places where people can brainstorm. And if you have to celebrate and give awards, we can set you the venue. The awardees can be so happy. And the pictures you can capture can portray your organization nicely, even your staff. Their Instagram will just crash. Yeah? Because the backgrounds, the picture frames, the backdrops we have created at Ara is unimaginable. And you know the most important thing? The sunset. You need a golden moment on a 200-meter beach line, no other people. You want to have your sundowner cocktail or breakfast on a floating dock on the water. You want to just sit and paint the horizon. Okay. All this happens here.
If anyone is not enticed by how you've taken us through Ara, really, they should visit and come see for themselves. What is it that people do not know about West Nile?
Now, first, people do not know where it is. Some are wondering, is it in Karamoja? Is it in Gulu? You need to find that out. Now we are on the northwestern part of Uganda. Okay. The other thing people don't know about West Nile, it is the most diverse part of Uganda. It's not one tribe. We have Lobara, we have Kapo, we have Alu, we have Jona, we have Madi, we have Aringa, we have Reli, we have Aliba, we have Gimara. culturally very diverse. The other thing people don't know about West Nile, we are the ones who formed Uganda. Did you know that? So when they were exploring Uganda in 19th century, the whites approached from two directions. From the coast, going westwards. Okay? But also they started from Egypt downwards, Anglo-Egyptian Sudan. Okay? And you know the story of the Nubians. So they brought the Nubian force. The Nubian force established the first location or management of Uganda in Dufule, actually in Moyo, in a place called Dufule First in 1876. Okay? Before the 1900 agreement, 24 years before the 1900 agreement. You must have heard of Gordon, you must have heard of Emin Pass. There's Emin Pass Hotel in Arua. Yeah. And the Nubians. And then the Nubians, West Nile incorporated in them. This force was given to Lugard, okay, Captain Lugard. Yes. That Fort Lugard, you see in old Kampala, was established by us West Nilers together with Nubians. Okay? And actually, we sometimes say Uganda was not supposed to be Uganda protectorate, it's supposed to be Nubian protectorate. Okay? So we went and put the force, which then worked with the Buganda to establish Uganda. You know, so the story began here. The next thing which they need to know about West Nile is that when Winston Churchill came to Uganda, okay, in 1908, he came to watch and track rhinos in Ajai Game Reserve. The only place in Uganda where white rhinos occurred naturally is Ajai. And that's why we have a place called Rhino Camp. Okay? This is also the place where President Roosevelt came to hunt rhinos. If you go in his presidential library, which is normally the museum of past American presidents, the biggest thing there is a trophy, even a picture he took in West Nile. Okay? In about, I think about 1912. Okay? Yes. Here. So this West Nile is the place where great people, before Uganda was established properly, chose to be. Okay? West Nile also, apart from Kasese, has been the center of cotton growing. Okay? West Nile has got the longest part of the river, which is motorable, where cruises could run. We spin that boat with you the first time we launched it.
Yeah.
And we are now making bigger ones to have 210 kilometers of white water cruising. The Kazinga Channel is only 43 kilometers. This is 210, 5 times, passing through a route of history, where the explorers like Emin Passa came, where the Nubians moved, the same route followed by President Roosevelt, Sir Churchill, where slave trade, abolition enforcement of the Khartoumers. You know, there was a slave trade route from West Nile through Khartoum to Egypt and across. Yeah. Apart from the one which went to the coast, this was another route. So the abolition, this was also the route where the enforcement is very rich history. You know, so you take this cruise, you are following in the footpath, and we narrate this, so it will just not be cruising. You stop at Wadlai. You stop at Wanglai. It's all on this route, where the Gipiri Labong history which we learn it comes live. And you would have enjoyed Pahwat with Anagnang and Angara, and you take this cruise with a stop in Obonyi, upon where really the big story of the Nubians is, okay, and where even Islam started on this part.
Okay, yeah. But sorry to cut you short. All the stopovers that you have talked about, are there monuments that still talk about these stories?
Yeah, sure. So first we have relics, a lot of relics, and now we have developed these sites with signages, with picture frames, with facilities for hosting people. They will want to use washrooms, take pictures, tour. They need tour guides to speak to them. This we have perfected. Yeah.
What better way to explore West Nile? Just with adventure, with history, and everything that you would want to know in this region. World Tourism Day is happening. We are in Ara Fishing Lodge, just as one of the exhibitors, and wait for more that is still coming up from the celebration. Stick around.
Last word, West Nile is open to tourism. The community is so enthusiastic, open, happy to host visitors. Come and see this great part of Uganda and finish the Uganda story.
Thank you so much.
Brought to you by Uniquely Ours. Explore Uganda. Live from UBC Studios in Kampala, this is Good Morning Uganda.
A very good morning to you. Welcome back from GMU Tourism Express. And we always are grateful to the Uganda Tourism Board for making sure that we get to experience the tourism sector of Uganda through Good Morning Uganda Tourism Express. Time for business, and my name is Julie F. Nantaba. We are starting off with the Uganda-Russia bilateral. The third session of Uganda-Russia Intergovernmental Commission on Economic, Scientific and Technical Cooperation is slated for 7th and 8th October in Kampala. The two-day high-level meeting will feature plenary and panel discussions, government business to business sessions and business exhibitions aimed at fostering relations and further cooperation between the two countries. Russia, the fourth largest economy in the world, has openly welcomed Uganda as a partner and accepted Uganda products such as coffee and minerals, creating an opportunity for Uganda to tap into the economy. Now, you might remember that indeed the ambassador of Uganda in Russia was here the day before yesterday, that was on Tuesday, to emphasize this very point, that Russia is opening its arms for Uganda in terms of economic growth, and indeed we look forward to that relationship. Now, moving on, let's have a look at World Food Day. There are growing concerns among Ugandans that traditional organic seeds of crops like maize, cassava and sweet potatoes are phased out and replaced with improved varieties developed by researchers. Some argue that this shift could negatively affect food production. However, scientists cite that improved seeds are pest-resistant, weather-tolerant, and capable of boosting yields, among other benefits. As Uganda joins the rest of the world to mark World Food Day on October 16th, the questions of food insecurity and malnutrition still remain. Minister of Agriculture Frank Tumwebaze says Ugandans must work together to increase food production and improve storage as a means of strengthening food security. Concerns remain. However, the traditional organic seeds are being replaced with improved varieties, with which some citizens fear could be harmful, though researchers cite otherwise. This year's World Food Day celebrations, to be hosted at Rebitaba Research Institute in Fort Portal, will run under the theme hand in hand for better food and a better future. Now, I really wonder what programs researchers have in place to convince Ugandans that seeds that are genetically modified are not harmful. But indeed, we'll look forward to that program and whichever way it will come through. Now, let's look at matters women in energy. As Uganda pushes towards sustainable and inclusive energy development, the Ministry of Energy and Mineral Development is taking steps to developing a gender-focused fact sheet to ensure that women, youth and marginalized communities are not left behind in the country's energy transition. The fact sheet will document gender statistics, gaps and opportunities in the energy and mineral sector. Upon completion, it is expected to inform policy, programs and investment, ensuring that women and other often overlooked groups can access opportunities in energy production, employment and leadership. Women are now taking up technical roles in the energy and minerals sector, from engineers to managers. But challenges remain, including representation in high-level decision-making and access to training and funding. Well, with those stories, let's have a look at what we have on the forex rates as of the 1st of October 2025. And the US dollar yesterday opened at 3,484.64. That was buying, and it sold at 3,494.64. By midday, it had dropped to 3,475.09 and selling at 3,485.09. And by close of day, it had drastically dropped to 3,463.45 and selling at 3,473.45. The British pound was buying at 4,661.97 and selling at 4,675.43. The euro was buying at 4,072.15 and selling at 4,083.90. The Kenyan shilling buying at 26.80 and selling at 26.88. The Tanzanian shilling maintaining, and the South African rand at 200.73 buying and selling at 201.31 selling. Well, that's it from GMU Business. Good Morning Uganda does continue. We also have sports, by the way, just in case you thought this is the end. The agenda is up next, and in the agenda we're having a conversation with Afande Anatoli Muletera, and we're looking at civic education ahead of the 2026 polls. Our duties and responsibilities. Do you know your duty? Do you know your responsibility? I sure want to know my duty and my responsibility. So it's a good time to engage this conversation. 0709 602 592. It's the WhatsApp number that you should engage and be a part of the conversation. So save it now while we take a short break. Good morning.
Every waking day is a reminder just how beautiful this, our land, truly is. The kind of beauty that you can only find here, in the lush green all around us and the wondrous sights within. It's in the distinct aroma of our cooking, to the taste of food that takes you on a journey, in the sound of homecoming and the sound of Mother Earth. In the magnificence we find on our travels and the exciting moments we experience. Ours is the kind of beauty that comes in all things big and small. All we have to do is awaken our senses and truly enjoy what's uniquely ours. Explore Uganda, the Pearl of Africa.
My friend, I have made some good money today. It is time to relax and enjoy life.
Nice to hear that, Sim. Just give me some money.
Gino, let's go party. All the drinks and the muchomo are on me. I will crown the day with a babe to chill with before I return home. Let's enjoy ourselves. Life is too short.
You guy, you mean you want to take nothing home to your family? My friend, indulging in casual sex has become very risky and dangerous these days. There is HIV and what's still Mpox.
What are you saying, Gino? Look, I use protection. A condom. Don't scare me.
Good. Condoms can protect you from HIV and other STIs, but not Mpox. If that person has the Mpox skin rash, he will also contract the disease Semu. What? Yes, Semu. And from there, you'll spread it to your loved ones, your lovely wife, and your children, who may suffer serious disease and even die.
Thanks, Geno. I heard about it earlier, but I just brushed it off as well. So I am cancelling this useless program and going home to my loved ones. Bye, Geno. Bye.
Good decision. You see, that is being responsible, Semu. Hey, by the way, before you go, just give me at least a 50K.
Mpox is real. Protect yourself and the loved ones. Stay safe and do not indulge in casual sex or other risky behaviors. For more information about Mpox, call the Ministry of Health toll-free line on 0800 1066 or send a free SMS to YouReport on 8500. This message is brought to you by the Ministry of Health with support from UNICEF, WHO, and its partners.
Exercise can't be sustained. Eating can't be stopped. It's even harder to lose weight. Come and give it a try. Ginshikang L-carnitine chromium capsules, plant extract, scientific ratio, take 3 capsules each time. The active ingredient accelerates fat burning, eat twice a day. Don't take a detour. Weight loss starts now. Ginshikang L-carnitine with chromium capsules helps you stay in shape. Please follow medical advice when taking this product. For more information, visit our website www.hgo.com or call 0800 335555.
Taxation is a bit complicated, and the only way to demystify it and make it as easy to understand and to comply with is through engagement. Is there a limit to the number of cars a returning citizen is bringing into Uganda? Who has paid the excise duty on this water is not the supermarket which has sold you this bottle at 1,000. It's not the business. It is the man who is going to drink this water. We strongly believe that it will only be through such constructive engagement that we'll be able to broaden our tax base and build our country together.
Buza Commissioner. Now you can get direct answers. Send your tax-related questions via WhatsApp or SMS to 0790-141-887 and the Commissioner General of URA, John Musinguzi, will personally address them. Tune in to UBC News Tonight every Monday and Wednesday for expert insights and clear explanations. Buza Commissioner. Pick of the day on UBC.
He expected me to die like within the first 2 years.
Out of the blue, the child will get pains, especially in the wrists. And this happens commonly when children are starting to walk.
Was brought to you by
I'll call you every day, yeah yo, baby dondolo.
You can now get all the Chibuzi out with MTN voice bundles. Call all networks Kubei Dondolo. Buy a 25-minute voice bundle for only 1,000 or buy any daily voice bundle of your choice. Dial *100*21# and select daily or use the MyMTN app. When we talk together, we are unstoppable.
Juko.
Yo.
Check the shopping, man. What's your secret?
Haven't you heard of the parish development model PDM?
Yes, I did, but I thought it was just a talk.
No, it is real. I and a few friends together formed a circle, accessed money from the PDM, invested in a portrait project, and now things are moving.
Juko. I thought I was one of your friends.
You are.
But you left me behind.
I didn't leave you in poverty. What you do, Just visit your LC2 chairperson and your parish chief and start the process of economic transformation. Just like that. The parish development model is an initiative from the government of Uganda through the Ministry of Local Government designed to transform all lives of Ugandans for the better.
PDM, my parish, my development, my life.
The government's core mandate is to maintain law and order, safeguard citizens' rights, and provide essential public services.
Remember, one of the pillars of the roadmap is innovation and entrepreneurship.
There has been this question of how are you protecting our indigenous seed?
It's going to be a tall project that answers somebody's question.
The front bench has brought you insightful discussions on governance, security, healthcare, justice, and commerce.
Why do you go through this complicated procedure, involve the lawyers? You bring the case against him, the judge will hear you out and pass judgment, and you're out of court in record time.
We remain committed to keeping you informed and engaged on key national matters.
So these are huge, these are powerful organizations which now Uganda chairs. Why don't you come together?
If we haven't migrated to the e-card because of various reasons, including that not all the people of Uganda have smartphones.
You can sit in your house, apply for a passport. If you have a Ugandan who has a successful logistics firm in the US, it means he can come to Uganda and do a lot more.
Every Monday at 8:30 p.m. with me, Jethro Kasaiji, your interface with the government only on your public broadcaster, UBC, Inspiring Uganda.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala, this is Good Morning Uganda.
Good morning, Uganda. Welcome to the show. If you're just joining us, you're welcome. This is Good Morning Uganda. And if you started the show with us or along the way, thank you so much for watching UBC TV as we come to you live from Nile Avenue. My name is Julie F. Nantaba. And who will be your next president? Now, looking at the campaign trail today, as of the second day of October 2025, we do have Kasibante Robert representing the National Peasants Party in Chenjojo, Fort Portal today. We also do have Bulira Frank Kabinga, that is representing the Revolutionary People's Party, who will be in Luka today. And looking at Hoima Chikube, it will be Mabirizi Joseph representing the Conservative Party, and he will be in Hoima Chikube. And Honorable Chagulanyi Sentamu will be in Bugweri Namutumba, representing the National Unity Platform. Now, Kamuli Buyende will be hosting Honorable Nandala Mafabi, and that is the presidential candidate for the Forum for Democratic Change. And Iganga will be hosting Honorable Munyagwa Mubarak Serunga of the Common Man's Party. That is as by the Electoral Commission. And Yoweri Kaguta Museveni will be in Alebtong Otuke and representing the NRM party. And finally, Mitoma Rubirizi will be hosting Jisha Muntu, who is representing the Alliance for National Transformation. Those are the candidates who will be traversing Uganda today as by the Electoral Commission calendar. If you are in any of these places, make sure that you attend peacefully and pay attention to their manifesto as they present what they have planned for Uganda. But not only are we voting president for Uganda, we're also wondering who will be your next member of parliament, who will be my next member of parliament, who will be your next leader at the local council level. Now, Anatoly Muletera is joining me in studio to look at civic education ahead of the 2026 elections. And specifically, we are looking at duties and responsibilities that we all have to play for the success of this journey. Anatoly Muletera is the Commissioner of Police and the head of Community Policing, the Community Policing Department at the Uganda Police. Good morning, Sevo.
Good morning, Nyabo.
Jambo, sir.
Hamjambo sana.
So good to have you.
But
and
you seem to have escaped from there.
Hey!
Don't you think you could be a target of being looked for as a deserter?
Oh, wow. Well, my name will appear nowhere, unfortunately. There will be no evidence.
Are you sure? No, it could have been that when you were recruited,
right,
before the roll call, you jumped off the roll and...
Oh, God. Very interesting. But it's always good and a pleasure to have you on UBC TV as you inspire Uganda through the role of community policing. And digging straight into it, what exactly is the role of security in emphasizing civic education?
Good morning, our esteemed listeners and viewers on UBC TV on this program. Good morning. Happy being here, and happy being here on a season that there is a lot of contestation, expectations, emotions, and above all, that God keeps us all alive, especially for those of us who want to see Uganda beyond now. I want to thank you for choosing this topic and at this particular moment. You know, my presenter, there are two seasons in life that raise a lot of expectations. One is during the festive season. You know, there is a lot of fuss, and for us in security and particularly in police, we experience a lot of criminality. Why? Because those who have not, everyone wants to harvest, and everyone wants to maximize happiness during that season. And therefore, the criminals, the good people, and everybody will see to it that he must be able to get something in the pocket in order to reach that level. So that season makes us to be high on alert, and calls upon all of us to be very vigilant and very positive in as far as providing our role is, performing our role is concerned. The other second season is the political season. The difference between the festive season and the political season is that there is a lot of contestations. Unlike the other season brings a lot of expectations, this one brings a lot of contestations. And while it brings a lot of contestations, each of us presumes that he's right in his or her own way. However, in life you must always accept to always give in, especially when you are interacting with somebody, when you are presenting your agenda, or when you are in a public place. Now, there are two forms of education, public education. There is what we call civic education. Civic, coming from the word civilian, providing education to the civilian on different topical issues. The different topical issues can be social, can be cultural, can be economic, can be political. And it is supposed to be done by the duty bearers, who can include me, the police, you in the media, for example, when you are enlightening the police, the community, about the role of the media in as far as any topical issues concerned. It can be a teacher who wants to give general whatever. It can be health, by health worker. So when you provide that level of education, you are conducting civic education. However, there are those with a role, for example, we in the police, that we must be able to provide this kind of information, especially in as far as security is concerned, especially in as far as each party has performed his or her role, and so on and so forth, as I'll be able to give more explanation. The other form of education is the voter education. Now, voter education is a prerogative of the Electoral Commission. Now, more often than not, you hear people saying, Electoral Commission has not come to do this. No, Electoral Commission performs the role of providing voter education in relation to the political season, so that each and every one of us can be able to be concertized. But that is not what I'm going to talk about. Coming to what you have asked me, what is the role of the police during this season? Now, before talking about the police, there are about four parties that are involved in an election. The first principal party is the Electoral Commission. It is the one which organizes, which invites, which sieves, which prints, which does so many things. So that is one party, and of which it is constitutionally mandated to do so. The other party are the political candidates at all levels. For example, I'm happy that you began the program by giving an enlightenment on the trail of how the political candidates are traversing for support countrywide. So the second party are the political candidates at all levels. So let it be from the presidential up to even the LOC level. The other party are the voters, the supporters. I think, no, among the voters we have two categories. We have the supporter, those who claim to be very ardent, those who claim to be the bloodstream of a party and so on and so on. Those are, we can call them the supporters. Then the general voters in that category. Then the fourth party is the security and police, for that matter. It is incumbent upon each and every one of us to understand that without stability, without security, you and me cannot be able to do whatever you want in a peaceful environment. The question would be, what is security? The well-being of a person knowing that you are free from any danger. And that consciousness begins with you who is listening to me on this program. That as long as you want to be free from any danger, you are secure. But as long as you can be able to move from your home to go to outside, there must be a regulatory body. A regulatory body which is mandated to do that, and which is the police. So for us as police, we perform particularly two major roles. One is the role of enforcement. But before enforcement, the first role is the role of public order management as key to what we do. And under public order management, we conduct community awareness, community sensitization, community mobilization. Like I am here now, we are trying to do this in order to prevent any possible escalation or any possible violence. We have not talked about any escalation because it has not happened, but any possibility or any trigger that can lead to violence. Still under public order management, we are able to inform the community and the public about how the police needs to work with you, about how the police needs to bring everybody on board. Because when you look at the Constitution is very clear. It mandates us as the police to work with everybody, as in Article 212D and in Article 17F, we are enjoying to work together. So, under public order management, the police has 3 major units. That is the unit of community policing, the Directorate of Public Order Management, that is FFU, where there is any possibility of a breakdown in lawful activity by people turning to be violent, then public order management comes in. The ultimate goal is to prevent the occurrence of crime. Then crime intelligence in that matter. Now, if situation goes out of hand and say maybe there are acts of violence, there are acts of lawlessness. You know, there is an instance where people tend to mix the 2 terms, the term of demonstration and a riot. In law, the Constitution provides and safeguards the right to demonstrate. It is lawful. However, that right to demonstrate is not infallible. It is not supreme. If it turns into violent, then the demonstration ceases being a demonstration, it turns into a riot. So once it turns into a riot, the police comes in and says, no, please, stop it. And that's when now an officer under public order management makes what we call a public proclamation.
Afande, one would ask, isn't the occurrence of this demonstration turning violent relative? Because many a times we've heard people who have had demonstrations make statements such as, we were demonstrating peacefully and the police disorganized us.
It depends. It depends. You are not the first to tell me about that. But why would it be the intention of the police to disrupt them? If I am telling you we are going to CPS and you divert me from going to CPS, you go to Wandegea, why don't you think it should be my role to tell you, please, what was our arrangement? Is to go to CPS. Can we go to CPS? When you say, I am not going to CPS via the way you are telling me, I'm sitting in the road, should I tell you that please go ahead and sit because it is your right? No way. Because the road is a public good for which it is not limited to you alone. Every person, whether one has bathed or has not bathed, or what is on foot or is with this cart or is on a vehicle, he's entitled to a road. So you cannot say, please, because I am entitled and it is my right. No. By then, let me tell you, in the Constitution, when we talk about the right, there are many of them, but there is what we call the supreme right. And the supreme right amongst all these rights is the right to life. So in all efforts, we make sure that we protect each and everyone's life because it is mandated. It is something which you live once, and when you mismanage it again once, it may go and you may never get it back. Back to the issue of elections. Why do we need, what do we secure in an election? Like I've mentioned the 4 parties that are involved. We secure 4 categories of people, 4 categories of material. First of all, we secure the principles in an election. That is to say, the presidential candidate. That's why police has been given to all the presidential candidates. The 8 of them, each of them have been given. And that is the Electoral Commission working hands in hand with the police to ensure that they are given, because that is a special privilege, a special recognition for what for the exercise you have undertaken. We secure the voter material when it is being transported from one place to another. We secure the voting area and and polling station. A voting area can have numerous voting stations. So we secure that. We also secure the voters, that while in the line, you must go peacefully without any interaction, without any disturbance, without any kakuyege, because by law, and as pronounced always by Electoral Commission, nobody is supposed to converse support at a polling station. So it is the work of the police to do all of that. Now, that is during elections. You know, by the way, there are three levels in an election. Here we are talking about the pre-election time. We are securing all the programs and all the venues where every candidate is moving. Besides providing them with the police, with the physical guards, we secure them in transit and at the venue and at exit until when the whole exercise is there, every day until the time when the EC pronounced rule. Right.
Afande, now let's get to the key civic duties of us, the citizens, or us who are not in the police, obviously, or are part of any security agency. What is expected of us?
The most fundamental is that as a Ugandan, you are entitled to vote for a person of your choice. And as you vote for a person of your choice, you do it to your conscience without any due influence. But that is not the work of the police, because even there are those who may choose not to vote. However, as a responsible citizen, and more so when you look at the Constitution in Article 17, where it stipulates, Article 17F, it stipulates that every Ugandan shall be able to cooperate with all lawful agencies in the maintenance of law and order. That is the cardinal for each and every one of us, that you must be able to maintain law and order. Now, when you are a supporter, please, whatever you do, are you doing it lawfully? Whatever you do, are you doing it in an orderly manner? Take an example. A program was given out to all presidential candidates. And as supporters, you are urged, whereas you may desire to move with your presidential candidate, don't move in a convoy. Don't move disrupting other road users. Don't go into a marketplace. Don't go into a school. Don't go into a hospital. Make a place of your choice, but not those that you agreed on. When you don't do that, then the police will come to put you to order. So as a citizen of this country, you are called upon to respect, fundamentally to respect. Secondly, to be responsible. Thirdly, to ensure that whatever you do it in a way that does not violate other people's rights. You know, there is a tendency of each one of us saying, it is my right. Yes, that is good. It's good you know about your right. But how about my right also? So when the two of us come and meet, we must trade. We must trade. You know, like the Baganda say, unalia no nalia. So when food is put on the plate, it does not mean that you must be able to grab. That is being a glutton. Allow any other person to eat with you so that each of you gets satisfied. And that is a fair game. So equally so, every citizen is called upon to be fair in his or her practice. But we have a tendency of people saying, it is my right, it is my right. Your right is only unlimited when you are in your house.
Say that again.
You are right. The right of each individual is unlimited.
When you're in your house.
When you're in your house. And particularly, even when you're in your bedroom. For example, if you are a married man, you can afford to remove your clothes and throw your legs everywhere. Nobody will be able to disturb you. But if you have children, that very right of being naked cannot be taken in the sitting room. You cannot be able to practice that because you will be violating other people's rights. So equally so, whereas we talk about rights are not infallible. They are not perpetual. They have a limitation, especially when you do not enjoy them in a more responsible manner. The body that is entrusted to shape you or to put you in line is just the police. Please, I want to call upon you. Respect us.
Very interesting. We are looking at civic education ahead of the 2026 polls. What is our duty? What is our responsibility as all stakeholders in this 0709602592? And our time is time is against us, but we need to learn as best as possible to utilize that time and to get more information from that. Be a part of the conversation, all right? Now, I'm trying to kill the visuals of the metaphor that Afande Afande has used. But Afande, let me get to the role of the media, because one thing for sure is Uganda's eyes are all on the media space for information. And given what was experienced in the recently concluded by-elections of the Kawempe North by-election, there was a clash between security agencies and the media. This time around, what should we do, what shouldn't we do? And how best should we serve Ugandans?
The first thing you need to know is that we are strong partners. Please, as you ask me that one, you underline the word partners. 2, we all have roles to perform which are complementary. Complementary, not competitive. We are complementary in our role. Fundamentally, it is the work. By the way, let me tell you, without you, I would not also be here. Because I am able to reach a wider coverage. I am able to reach out and appeal to a wider group of audience when I use the media. So there is no way we can be able to do without each other. However, when we are doing that, we must be responsible and responsive. Nobody, for example, are you a farmer? But you don't look one. Now, for me, I am a farmer. When I go to dig, my partner in my tool of duty in digging is a hoe. So when I carry a hoe like this and cut the ground, incidentally, a hoe may slip from cutting the ground and hits the toe. Does that mean that I've intended to hurt myself?
No.
2, you are eating food, and your intention is to eat food surely. But in the course of eating food, you bite yourself. Does that mean that the food is bad or the tongue is bad? So there are certain things that you really need to understand. In ordinary life, none of us wants to undermine the other. But it's also not good when you use your position for and above others. That is not good. Just like I always tell men who undermine their wives, if you knew that your wife is bad, why didn't you leave her and marry your sister? Because you need to understand that the woman you have married is a woman whom you have got from another family, far and above, either above you in age. She's maybe 20 and you are 18. She's either 18 and you are 40. That means that if you are to make her to be part of you, always appeal to her. Always make her understand you. Don't use force. Similarly, the media. Why should you use force against us? Whom are we competing for? Uganda is all ours. Please. And Uganda has space for all of us. Like now I'm here. I am not antagonizing anybody. I am saying, please, let's do this thing in a manner that can make us sell his or her agenda. Now, you have asked, what is the role of the media? The media has there are two major whatever. There are many, but I want to emphasize on 2. 1, the media is the avenue of information dissemination. 2, the media causes us as security to be more accountable, especially when they are able to identify particular incidences where we are unprofessional. Now, if that happens, what are we supposed to do? Can we engage each other? Can we do that in a more humane manner, in a more respectful manner, in a more manner that is that endears each of us to know that, please, I am doing my work. If you are doing your work and I'm doing my work and you need my support, do you need to use force against me? I believe not. So I want to call upon all of us, please, while we need to exercise, and by the way, let me tell you, there is none of us who is not mandated to perform his or her duty in the Constitution. And the Constitution is the supreme law to which governs all of us. So whom can you wish away? Do you have a possibility to wish me away? No. Do I have a possibility to wish you away? No. So that means that all of us require support of the other. But, you know, humanly speaking, people in terms of happiness tend to forget each other. And in terms of danger, that's when they are able to hurry to come and say, you know, my friend, you know this, but please always know that you are let me say, each of us is a necessary evil to the other.
Very interesting. Now to get into a couple of your comments, as we look at civic education towards the General Polls 2026, what is our duty, what is our responsibility? Somebody comes through and says, thank you for the show, UBC, but now the police talks something else and does something another. They are supposed to keep law and order, not beating up their citizens. Ask Afande why they discriminate and segregate amongst candidates since we are in an election period. Why some candidates' force is used while others, they are left free. They should be clear, not always orders from above. Who's above? As said, Uganda is all ours. This is Monica from Mulago.
I want to thank him for his observation. One, there is no above. Above in our practice is the law. But even then, in ordinary life, who is not above? In your home, dear esteemed listener and viewer, in your home you are above because you give orders to your children. You give orders to your family, to your wife. You give orders to whatever. So you're above. Now, in this regard, when you begin insinuating above, you are trying simply to become simplistic in understanding our role. There is nothing that we do that is not legal. What you need to understand is how does the police act in certain instances. Invoke or challenge us on the basis of the law. But when you begin talking about above, you are not understanding what you are talking about. Secondly, we do not participate in making any program for those presidential candidates or any candidates. Our work is to enforce because that is what we are given.
Right.
So I want to inform and call upon that
Monica.
brother or sister of mine. Please reign over your candidate to be lawful. And when it's lawful, if police goes and antagonizes him, then we shall hold that individual responsible. Why he's doing whatever he's doing in an unlawful manner. But this business of always insinuating, you know, there are those whom we treat. Do we treat them because we make our own laws? Do we treat them because we make our own program? No, we are enforcers, my dear.
And one final one will be from, I think this is Phillips from Karamoja, who says, good morning, Afande. Yes, our role is to listen to all presidential candidates and MPs and later make a choice to vote and the right person. But sometimes you, the police, are used to intimidating us and force us candidates. I don't know what you meant there, Phillips, but you say the other is, why do you like using guns to torture people? Haven't you been trained on military psychology that helps you to handle people? Why do you always bring the army to brutalize us, and yet that is your role? This is Phillips from Karamoja.
Philip, if the Karachuna hold guns, they are illegal. It is an illegal act because there is no law that provides for them to carry guns. But if the policeman carries a gun, he's mandated to carry that gun. The only question you will ask me, when does a policeman resort to the use of a gun? But it is mandatory, by the way, as long as you are a security personnel, recognized in law. And let me emphasize this, recognized in law. And which of those security agencies? The UPF is mandated to buy guns, and they buy them using taxpayers' money. And I want even to clear this, because there are instances when you begin saying, you know, the police is misusing our money. Please, when they talk about taxpayers, it includes me, because the items which they use, they tax it from the sugar I consume, the fuel I use, the matoka I buy, just like you do there. So when they are using, we use it on taxpayers' money, which is appropriated from the consolidated fund. So a policeman to carry a gun is very lawful. UPDF to carry a gun is very lawful. It is a provision for them. The UPS is lawful. The Uganda Wildlife Authority is lawful. Any citizen that is overtly in an open manner. The police can be able. However, there are limits. If, for example, a policeman is patrolling in an open place, he must be able to use his tool of duty. That is his gun. There are 4 tools of duty. We have a gun, there is a whistle, there is a baton. Eh? Now, if he uses that, then that's very okay. But should a policeman carry a hoe on uniform, then you have a right to challenge me. Because a hoe is not a tool of duty. But for a gun, please stop your insinuations. That is what we are supposed to have. After all, even tear gas, by the way. I should not forget tear gas.
It's the other tool of duty.
Hey, fully. And by the way, it is allowed in law. If at all you want to restore peace and security, stability, it is allowed.
Afande, in 1 minute, give us a parting shot. We'll definitely have you back because there's a lot of questions, but time is against us and we need to leave room for GMU Sports. So in 1 minute, just give us your parting shot.
I wish you the best of luck during this season.
All right. Thank you so much. That is Afande Anatoli Muletera. Forgive me. Yes, that is Afande Anatoli Muletera, who is the commissioner at the Uganda Police and head of the policing department at the Uganda Police Force. We'll definitely have him back in this season to educate you more and for you to ask your questions and those issues that you do not understand. Up next is Ruben with the sports. Good morning.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala, this is Good Morning Uganda.
Exercise can't be sustained. Eating can't be stopped. It's even harder to lose weight. Come and give it a try. Ginshikang L-carnitine chromium capsules. Plant extract, scientific ratio, take 3 capsules each time. The active ingredient accelerates fat burning, eat twice a day, don't take a detour. Weight loss starts now. Ginshikang L-carnitine with chromium capsules helps you stay in shape. Please follow medical advice when taking this product. For more information, visit our website www.hgo.com or call 0800 335555.
Taxation is a bit complicated, and the only way to demystify it and make it as easy to understand and